I'm Greg Pollock, one of the EMS Supervisors.
And I'm Justin Neal with the Training Division.
We're going to be videoing how to properly pace and also show you guys the different type of pads we'll be getting.
All right, so indications for pacing, they're going to be the hemodynamically unstable bradycardia patients. So presenting with hypotension, chest pain, pedal edema, acute alto mental status as well. One of the things we want to hit on today is the different type of pads. We're moving away from the anterior posterior pads, and we're moving to the anterior pads. One thing we do want to hit on is that both sets will be in the field at the same time, so be careful when choosing your pads.
Ideally, we'll be going away from those like you said, but it'll be through attrition, so you may be on a truck that has anterior posterior. So like you said, be very careful when you're setting them up to look at the packaging to determine what kind you have.
When determining a patient that you determine he needs to be paced, there's two types of pacing. There's going to be demand and fixed. We're going to be focusing on demand.
Yeah, do not try to fix pacing. That is not something we do pre-hospital.
So today we're just going to go through the pacing process with the monitor, go through the basic steps. Just reminder, it's a review of the pacing process. First thing we want to hit on is that the forward lead needs to be on and prefer to be the limb leads. So we want them on the arms, not in the legs, not the chest.
The reason for that is the pads can only do one thing at a time. If they're sending an impulse through them, that's what they're doing. The leads are there for visualization of the rhythm. At contrast to a defibrillation, where if you see defibrillation, you'll see a one-time occurrence of electricity. It goes back to monitoring the rhythm. So that's why the leads are imperative.
Next thing we want to hit on is the placement of the pads. We want to make sure we have good adhesive. Some things that could be a problem is hair, obesity.
The thicker the skin, the more fat in a sense, it increases what's called impedance, which is just circuit flow through the body. Those are things that we can't overcome. But like you said, things like hair, proper placement, making sure they're sticking, that's one of the areas we've seen that has been a failure from Zoll's perspective, is that our pad adherence has been poor.
So right now we're going to go through the pacing process. As you see on the monitor, we do have an unstable bradycardia patient complaining of, we'll say, chest pain. So first thing we want to do is turn the pacer on, go to pace, and once again you got demand and fixed. We're going to stick with demand. The rate's going to default to 70, and the output on our monitor is going to default to 30. All right. So we're going to start our pacing. And now you can tell we're pacing. We do have pacer spikes. So now we are looking for electrical capture. So we're going to increase our output until we see capture. We're going to go up by 10.
And in our monitors, this is obviously the ice simulate, so it operates 99% just like our monitor, but there is one thing, ours, like you said, preset of 30, but in our monitor, if you get capture, let's say it's 70 milliamps, you want to go back down to about 5 increments of 65, and if you maintain capture at that level, just keep it at that level.
The
other issue that we may run into is that if a person's intrinsic rate, the rate that they have themselves, if it starts increasing, like in this instance, we have it set at 70, if they were already at 40, but if we increase their rate, you will notice that you'll lose capture. And that's because their rate is taken over. That's what the purpose of the demand is. It only operates when it recognizes the rate is dropped below the preset rate. So it won't send any impulses. This may make you think that they have lost capture when you actually haven't, especially if their rate's variable. If it's going from 65 to 72, you won't see consistent pacer spikes, or at least capture. Understand that requires you to reassess your patient, check the manual pulses to see what they are. But do not stop pacing.
It's going to hit up on mechanical capture. The 3 places you want to check for mechanical capture are going to be the femoral, the right brachial, or the right radial pulse.
Purpose for that is if you try a carotid, you may get a false positive due to just the muscle contraction from the pacing. Another thing you can try is put on a portable pulse ox. The rate on that might actually, it'll show what's the real rate is, because you'll have perfusion obviously to the finger. The rhythm on the monitor may not match up. So if you got the rate you want on your pacing and that same rate on the pulse ox, it's more than likely accurate. And with anything else, if you do have a problem with the monitor, or it fails on something, or any other medical equipment for that matter, make sure all the proper paperwork is filled out and directed to the appropriate people.